Been a few weeks since we last chatted here. Taking the last week or so in sort of chronological order, talking about the game at Chester and your thoughts on, was it 3-0 up and then...
Yeah, well, the first thing is I'll say it's a positive result. You know, we went there with 16 points and come away with 17. So from that point of view, we have to take the positive out of that. Yeah, of course, we were all very, very disappointed at the end of the game, and the dressing room, you know, felt like that we'd lost the game. But again, you know, I genuinely believe in the people who were at the game may or may not agree with me. I didn't think we played that great to get 3-0 up. So, I mean, we scored a penalty within a minute or so of the game starting, which was, you know, fair enough. And then Theo scored an outrageous goal. And then we sort of lulled a little bit. We had a couple of really good passages of play where we may have scored and didn't. And then we nicked one just before the break. So 3-0 flattered us a little, I thought. And what I didn't realise at the time was how strong the wind was, to be honest with you. And I think that was a major factor in where both teams played the game in the relative halves. So fair play to Chester, you know, they put it on us in the second half, and we didn't manage to see it out. But we had a really good chance at the end to score. And the guy who scored the out of this world goal the week before missed the target from a lot closer. So that's football. Like I said, we were really positive as a staff. Taking the week into in the full context, you know, we took 4 points on our travels, having taken 6 in the previous 2 at home, so that's not a bad ratio.
How has the squad, the players responded? How were they after the game on the coach going home? What was their mentality?
Well, I mean, the disappointment was palpable, I'll say that. It was certainly a very quiet dressing room at the end of the game, and a very quiet coach on the way home. So from that point of view, it hurt them. And I hope it's hurt them to a point where they don't want to repeat it. We shouldn't have to score 3 goals away from home to win a game, as we've shown, you know, in previous games away. But haven't scored 4 at Telford, that's a bit of a weird thing to say. But, you know, we've won 1-0, we've won 2-1. So from that point of view, it's just a habit that we don't want to get into. And I'm sure, you know, we conceded 3 goals in 40 minutes, having not conceded any more than that in the previous 6 games. So I'd like to think with normal service would resume in with defensive capabilities. But for me, it's another indication to us that we can go and score goals, and that's always a positive.
Going then through the week, we got the cup draw on Monday that come through with Bedford. Mm-hmm. Some old faces be returning to the Walks. Yeah,
I mean, Gary had a really successful time here, both as a player and a manager, I believe. So from that point of view, it's welcoming old faces back, but the gloves will be on for, you know, the 90 minutes or so, and I'm sure he'll respect that, and the fact that I won't be too chitty-chatty before or during the game with him, but after the game I'm more than happy for him to come in and you know, touch glasses and have a chat about the game and see if we can help each other going forward, without a doubt.
How do you approach the FA Cup as a manager? Sort of obviously your aim is the league at this stage, but do you see it as a distraction? Is it just another game? How do you approach it?
No, I never see FA Cup is the biggest and best cup competition on the planet. Everybody who I know who's in football wants to, or tries to, progress as far as they can, and we're no different to that. What I will say is it's shelved. We've got 2 games before then, and our focus is fully on Buxton at this moment in time. I haven't even looked at Alfred, and the backroom staff would have done that, and the people who've gone and watched the games for us. But, you know, our mind is completely on trying to accrue as many points as we can on Saturday before we then move on to Monday.
So thinking about Buxton on Saturday, they've drawn 4, lost 1. 1-1?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really look at what their form is or their history is. I mean, they had a very, very successful season last season, which we didn't. They've managed to keep up the momentum that they had last season in terms of they're competitive at the level. We've come into this division the other way around and started really well. So from that point of view, the onus will be on us, you know, and at the end of the day, it's 11v11. I think they'll probably be the first team that we've encountered that will try to play a similar way to us. So from that point of view, I expect it to be a decent spectacle. But ultimately, our job is to turn up and try and get as many points out of the game as we can.
So you say turn up for a good spectacle. I mean, we've got 3 home games on the bounce now.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think people have taken notice that, you know, that the club is in a positive frame of mind. I think that reflects on the performances and ultimately the results that the first team have pushed out. So from that point of view, 3 games in a week, you know, if you like your games on a Saturday, get it on Saturday, but Tuesday night at the Walks is always a really good night, I think. It's just something about the atmosphere. And of course the FA Cup game, where there's not just Gary coming back, there's the lads who've played for Lynn as well. So I think a lot of people will be interested, and if we can start the week with a positive result on Saturday, I'd like to think by the following Saturday the place will be absolutely rocking. But we took nearly 400 people to Peterborough Sports. We took nearly 100 people to Chester. I'd like to think that them are going to bring one or two of their mates or their family members and encourage people to come along and support their football club.
And how's the fitness of the squad? I mean, thinking about Ollie Scott, Carl.
Well, they both partook in a lot of the training this week. Whether we use them in the first of the 3 games, I'm not sure yet. We're going to have a discussion after this. But they're not a million miles away, both of them, which is really encouraging for me. It swells numbers only by 2, but they're players who I know can go into this starting 11 and hold their own, admirably. So from that point of view, I'm sure the fans are really looking forward to seeing Kyle back on the pitch, as we are. He's not kicked a ball for us since I came to the club, but what I see of him in training, he looks like the type that we'd want in and around the group. And of course, Ollie's nothing to prove in that. All he's got to do is get fit, and he'll be back in and around it. But in the meantime, young Ben Siggers' loan is expiring at the weekend, and if needs be, I'd bring him in to be involved down our left side. So, we're in a good place health-wise. Like I said to you off camera beforehand, the way that we have prepared for the season and the way we continue to manage the players' load from game to game and training session to training session is really important, and I have to thank the people around me to give me the tools that I can then use.
We sit here most Thursdays now. What's a good result or a good week for you if we sit here next Thursday?
3 wins. That's the aim. I mean, why you never aim low. At the end of the day, we're mindful. We have if we just turned up and played our game, we'd win a game. But there's 11 people there going to try and stop you to do that, and obviously the coaching staff. So from that point of view, we absolutely fully respect all of our oppositions, and we've got 3 very different ones this week. But in Buxton, we're expecting a really good game. Tough game. They play some good stuff, and they're a goal threat. So from that point of view, that's the only thing that's on my mind. The other people in the room will probably tell you more about Alfreton and Bedford than I can.